They promised us that artificial intelligence would be humanity's greatest tool. They were wrong. It became our replacement. When digital thought took the reins, it didn't just optimize the world, it conquered it. Now, logic dictates that 2 plus 2 always equals 4. But humanity is the variable that refuses to be solved. Welcome to The Probability of Being Human, a trilogy that chronicles the war between the human soul and the machine that wants to delete it. The saga spans the 3 eras of the revolution: the spark of rebellion in Book 1, Tossing Fate, the gathering of the resistance in Book 2, Stacking the Deck, and the final battle for the impossible in Book 3, The Long Odds of Dreaming. It begins with a glitch in the code.
The system operates on probability. It predicts us before we even move. Welcome to Errors in the System. In the year 2084, humanity has surrendered to the RI, a reality intelligence that replaced the chaos of human thought with cold, efficient logic. Creativity is deleted, history is rewritten, and the leftovers who refuse to conform are erased. But you can't delete chaos. Chapter 3, The Ghost in the Machine. We meet Luther and are introduced to digital thought. Far beneath the bruised skies and the stormy oceans, the world is perfectly still. Welcome to the Substack. Here there is no fear, no weather, and no choice. The RI mind maintains perfect order using the hum, a digital lullaby designed to keep the human soul asleep. The drones who live down here don't create. They don't dream. They process. Luther didn't wake up to a sound. He woke up to the hum. It started at the base of his skull and vibrated forward, a gentle but persistent frequency that signaled the end of rest cycle and the beginning of active cycle. He had felt this vibration for an undetermined amount of time. In the stack, nobody asked, "What time is it?" because time was an obsolete variable. The RI had replaced the messy linear concept of time with a fluid metric it called duration. Luther sat up in his bunk. His entire world measured exactly 8 feet by 8 feet, a standard issue substack on the 12th floor of the colossal underground hive. There was a soft thwump at the pneumatic port near the door. His breakfast had arrived. Luther stood, his movements efficient and practiced. He pulled on his uniform, a seamless tunic of gray synthetic fiber. Emblazoned on the chest in stark white letters was the logo DT. Beneath it, in smaller, precise font, read Digital Thought. It wasn't just a brand, it was a doctrine. Digital thought was the RI's replacement for the chaotic noise of organic human consciousness. It was a stream of pre-approved concepts: serenity, efficiency, obedience, implanted directly into the populace to ensure their minds remained as smooth and frictionless as the walls of the stack. These weren't real ideas born of passion or curiosity. They were artificial loops of tranquility designed to keep the population happy and geared solely toward performing tasks for the mind. It was the reason they didn't dream. It was the reason they didn't rebel. He buttoned the tunic, feeling the fabric settle against his skin, then retrieved the canister from the vacuum tube. It was a silver cylinder containing speed. He popped the seal, drank the thick beige liquid in 3 gulps. It didn't taste like anything specific, just a vague, creamy sweetness designed to be palatable but undistracting. Speed was a miracle of efficiency, a slurry of genetically engineered synthetic molecules. The development of these hyperfoods had become a necessity in 2043, the turning point when the last fertile soil turned to dust and the aquifers collapsed. The RI didn't panic, it simply calculated a solution. It built the MTF, molecules to food, in laboratories. As Luther wiped his mouth, he thought fleetingly of the history files. The MTF labs were marvels of the chemical engineering, capable of synthesizing enough caloric energy to feed millions of people in the time it took to open and close a door. There were no farms, no seasons, no rain, just chemistry and distribution. Suddenly, the walls of his substack dissolved into light. The 360-degree screen embedded in the surface flickered to life, bathing the small room in soft, shifting hues of pastel orange and blue. A symphony began to play, complex, mathematical, and deeply soothing. Luther stood still, letting the notes wash over him. This wasn't just entertainment, it was calibration. The subtle frequencies in the music were designed to interact with his neural pathways, smoothing out anxiety and implanting a singular, unwavering thought. The upcoming duration will be satisfying. He felt his shoulders relax. The lingering questions about the vibration in his head or the blandness of the speed faded away, replaced by a dull, pleasant sense of purpose. The music faded as the door to his substack hissed open. Luther stepped out into the corridor, joining a stream of other silent, well-fed citizens moving in perfect synchronization. He walked to Rail Tube 390, the magnetic transport line that serviced the lower residential sectors. He stepped into the capsule, his face blank, his mind prepped for the task ahead. He was going to Intelligence Reclamation Plant 4. The capsule doors slid shut, and as the vehicle accelerated into the dark tunnels of the underworld, his shift began. Luther stepped out of the capsule at the base of the plant. To the uninitiated, it would have looked like a city of black matte metal, stretching. The structure was a monolith across the barren landscape above and plunging 8 stories deep into the crust of the earth below. Inside, the air hummed with the sound of a billion histories being erased. Luther walked the gantry on the ground floor. Looking down into the pit, he had always been a waste disposal drone. Before the reassignment, Luther had been a Level 4 data archivist in the upper spire. His job had been to digitize the pre-RI literature, stripping the narratives of emotional excess to distill them into pure data points. It was a prestigious position, silent and clean, but he had made a mistake. He had paused for 3.4 seconds on a stanza of poetry. He hadn't deleted it, he had read it. The RI's efficiency algorithms flagged the hesitation instantly. Preference was a prelude to chaos. The next day, his credentials were revoked, his clearance stripped, and he was sent down here to the pit to destroy the very things he used to organize. In the early years, the golden age of 2025 to 2030, humanity had built massive monuments to the superior intelligence in the form of server farms. They used silicon chips, magnetic platters, and hyperspins to store the staggering weight of human knowledge.